Remember this, my beloved brothers. Let every man be quick to hear, slow to speak. This week I was reflecting quietly in prayer on the centrality of interiority and receptivity. And I picked up something which I had written years ago in Italy when, during a moment of prayer, a light had come suddenly out of nowhere and became, as it were, a key, a secret. It was this: by abdicating totally, by not having any more any will or slight preference, but being in the truth of nothing, which is our fundamental truth, then all at that point changes. One no longer commands, one receives, and all is an extra and a bonus. Moreover, reflecting more deeply again, I came to see that actually it was in itself a whole spirituality to be explored. It went in this vein: if one abdicates totally, if one is in one's truth, then one is free. One doesn't even command the future moments, which is a big error in human life. We call it worry. We are spending this moment calculating the next, no matter where it may be in the future, and we are not free because we demand that that moment somewhere in the future be thus or else. And to make it be thus or not thus, I will sacrifice the present moment so as to adjust it, and I will expend all the energy of the present moment for the future moment. Do you see the error that is? Because over a life, one has missed the present moment. And also, one has missed the blessing of freedom. While one is playing God, one is theoretically saying, I believe in God and His providence, but I'll do just a little bit of worrying, just in case He can't quite manage it. But the truth would be better thus. What the Lord actually taught to our dear St. Catherine of Siena, who would have been in our monastery because it's close to Siena. And it was thus: the Father said to her, remember, my daughter, you are she who is not, and I am he who is. And if one starts from that point, one at last, in one's poverty, relaxes and says, I am not in control, even of a moment. It hit me particularly in one quiet moment, there in the cell, which is a good cell actually, which looked out on the church. And I remember I took the sacred scripture, and I had a little tiny icon, which I still have in my room, and also a kneeler, which I still have, one of those Taizé stools. And there I opened the scripture, and it was the beginning of John. And what it was saying was this: grace in return for grace. I had just been to confession, and there was a lot of grace in the air. And at that point I felt what the Lord was saying was this, and it was a moment of, could have gone the other way. I just come to Sant'Antimo. Take the grace that's coming as it is and abdicate. It will carry you. And thank God it happened. Because by being too calculating, one can get in the way of providence. Too much thought can do the thinking for God, who perhaps wants just a simple fiat. In the simplicity of the grace that's coming, I make a jump. That spirituality you'll find, probably if you want to, you can find it yourself in a book. It's still very much on the market. It's Caussard's Self-Abandonment to Divine Providence, a Jesuit of centuries ago who had a whole spirituality on the sacrament of the present moment, which contains in it all that we need for it, but has to be lived in that freedom of resting upon it without thought for the next. But then I realized a second truth, which I would like to share with you wherever you're at, because it concerns every human being on this planet. It's the fact that this dynamic of being able to receive in nothingness and emptiness and availability and awareness extends also to the moment that presents itself in the concrete of the human being that Providence places before me. I mean the capacity to engage passively, passive-actively, in such a way that that person is given space and that that person has a chance to express himself. Why? He could be also from God. That person may perhaps know something I don't know. It's possible. In which case, it might be well to give that person enough space to make a sentence heard. And by that I mean heard in the depth. Analyze your hearing. Is it not true that in every conversation something like this is going on? You hear something, you say something already in your mind as an answer. No matter where the person is going to make a further point, you're already in an interior dialogue, giving already the formula for the answer. And in the meantime, at that point, you've already blotted out any further truth. You're back to your own quantity of truth, and you are back in command. And it's massively out there. There's another degree which is actually a human tragedy. And this too is out there big time. The soul, on now the other side, who doesn't hear himself. The soul who doesn't realize he said enough. The soul who realizes little how much interior pain he's causing by going on too long and actually hogging the air. He is reigning over those around him. I am! Does that sound familiar? It's a participation indirectly, though he doesn't know it, in the fundamental sin of pride of the enemy of mankind. Now, that leaves you with a choice, even today. The next conversation that I have, will I actually, for a moment, learn not even to be thinking while listening? That applies also to prayer, because many are doing the same thing with God. Many in prayer are telling God things without a break. Many in prayer are afraid of the stillness. They can't be without interior noise. It's activism creeping into prayer. I conclude. There is also another thing to be aware of. The more words that we're engaging in, however they may be coming into us, the more dull we are to the power of the word. Does that sound familiar? How many don't even realize they've got a background dialogue going on? A transistor, a computer, a screen, something is talking to them. And at that point, their mind is absorbed by the messages coming to them, and they're no longer free. Moreover, when it comes to solitude, they are agitated and saturated. Their mind is full of words. Words, words, words. What do we want in our day, which is also our life, my friends? Do we want quality of interiority, quality of interchange, quality of embracing the High King himself, or more noise? Courtesy is made of reverence. Domination is made of noise, and hell is full of noise.